Yeah. Hey, welcome in. It's Mikey Wine here, aka Gundamoniumworks, and we are live again for part two of the Rex Metal Gear Rex build. I've been snapping away a little bit, trying to do some planning and figure out if I want to put some lighting in this. I'm at the step right now where I'm starting to try to figure that part out. So anyway, let's go to. See anybody in yet? No, got no watchers. So let's just start the show properly. Here we go. What's going on, Nick? How you doing? How are you and everybody? Welcome in one more time. So yeah, I've done a little bit more with the room. I've got a few more things I'm almost done with. I'm still waiting for my custom glass floor mat that's going to go under my seat here, and it's going to actually all the space behind me, so I'll be able to roll back and forth without eventually, damaging the floors with the wheels on my chair. So still waiting for that, but. If we look right over here, what room doesn't need a pub table, right? Look at that. So I got a glass top coming for that, and that will be here on Friday. And then I got a couple of these little black stools there. One of them's downstairs right now, but I'm going to bring the other one up here. And then, yeah, I've got a little pub table for people to hang out and maybe have a drink. Got my little rolling bar cart here as well, so just turning this into a little hangout area. Anyway, let's see where we're at. I got most of the legs done, and I'm starting on the part of the cockpit and that area. And it's kind of interesting how this thing is designed. I'll go down. Nice, he says nice. I want to go down here just real quick to this view, and so you can see. The leg sections here. This will be the left leg. There's a big ball joint here, or a socket here for that, or how that joins up. And these all kind of extend and articulate pretty nicely. There's also a little bit under here, a little more. This also swivels on a post. So some of this stuff I did not glue together because I'm still going to want to be able to take it apart and paint everything. I've got these side pieces, for example, those will come off. But for the most part, the core part of this, the leg is going to be, I'm going to have to do some masking, and especially if I'm going to be painting these different colors. This piece will come off here. This is a little side shield just on a little ball joint. These little, looks like smoke launchers here, those will come off. These little hatches also open. If I can get one, there we go. So these little guys just kind of pop open. Kind of hard to, just going to kind of touch the edge of them to get them to open. So there's some pieces in there. Those will come out too and be painted. But that's it for the legs. And then, like I said, I'm going to go down a little bit closer here and we'll show you the cockpit. It's kind of interesting the way this goes together. And the cockpit itself is under here. You open this up, there's the seat, the console. There's also a little figure that's supposed to go inside, and that closes up. This was kind of a challenging step to get these little pistons in here, because you have to, before you put these side pieces on, you have to kind of insert these. You got to put them on halfway, then insert these little pins, get them lined up on the holes, and then lock them in place. And then the top of this comes down kind of like this. I'm not going to fully snap this on there. I'm just going to kind of pop in there so we can see this. And then the top, once that's down, we'll kind of pop in here. Now, again, I'm not putting this all the way excuse me, I'm not closing this up completely because there are 4 little lights here. There's two here and 2 here on each side of the cockpit. And I want to try to put some fiber optics in there. I think that's probably the easiest way to do this rather than running LEDs to each individual light. I think it would be easier to have just one LED and maybe 4 strands of fiber optics. But this cockpit section is pretty small. There's not a lot of space. There's a little bit, if I take this back apart, there is a little bit of headspace or void space up in here in the top, which I could store. The fibers would be easily stored there, but it's like, again, where do I put the LED? How do I get power to it? That's things that I've got to solve. So what I may do tonight is I'm just going to think about this for a bit. If you guys have any ideas, if you've built this before and you know what, if you have a solution to putting fiber optics or LEDs in here, there's basically these lights. I have to drill a hole straight through back into the body here. That's not the hard part. That's easy. And then just install some fibers. It's just a central place to put the LED and then a power supply. What's up, Julius? And then also how to access it. I gotta have battery access. I don't want this to be one of those kits that the battery gets installed inside and then you never see it again. I mean, I could do that, but once it dies, it dies. And I have built kits like that before where I put a battery inside and then that was the end of it. And of course, once as long as it lasts long enough to do about a year, through the circuits and through the model shows and stuff like that, then it's really no big deal because then it just goes in the cabinet and we never see it in the lit up again. But like I said, once this goes together, I'm not pushing this all the way close. I'm just going to kind of give you an idea. There's a ladder section that goes on the back here, and that kind of joins these two. So that's going to make this almost impossible to just remove. I could make this a cap where you could take the cap off, maybe have a battery inside here. But then I would have to be able to take this off fairly easily. And with having that ladder here, it actually joins the pins join these two sections together. So I'm not sure how to solve that yet. I'll figure something out. But then once you pop this down, then you have these two side covers here, which will go onto the cockpit and finish off the armor on the outside. So far, pretty interesting kit. I mean, I really like it. And it's really, really well designed. Seems like they did their best to cover up most of the seams. I do see something here that I've got a nub that I did not sand off that I've got to take care of. So yeah, the way most of the seams are hidden, sort of. There's a few that you have to deal with, but I'm going to pop this off because I just realized there is I didn't sand this nub off the top here. And that's why we're not using any glue on some things. I'm gluing some of this stuff together. Some stuff that I know I don't need to really worry about. But as far as stuff like this, I'm going to want to take this apart and be able to paint these individual pieces and then just reassemble it. So I'm just going to keep going along, cracking on this on the main body. I think I'll come back to the cockpit section here and we can good evening, Space Noids. What's up? I'm Curator. I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, man? I know you started doing your live videos again in the mornings. That's awesome. Good to have you. Thanks for coming. Welcome in. So yeah, I'm just about I would say maybe halfway through this. I'm on this, but I don't know. I've got quite a few pages of assembly here to go. A good chunk of this is going to be that main cannon. But like I said, what I'm trying to really do Oh, you're seeing me on Twitch even. Nice. I don't get too many Twitch viewers, but it's good to have you. I'm just trying to figure out how to put some lighting in this cockpit. There's really only 4 lights that need to be lit on this entire kit, unless there's something on the gun and this. Well, look at it here. Let's see. If I go jump to the back here, we've got this cannon. I don't know if there's any lights that need to go on, any targeting system or any kind of lighting that would have to go on there, or maybe even this, what appears to be like a radar dish of some kind. I really don't know, having not seen the Metal Gear games in so long. I don't even remember how this thing looked or how it was lit up at all. So I guess that's something I'll have to sort out later. For the most part, like I said, I'm really happy with the way this is designed. It's pretty nice the way they've done it. So I guess I'll just start building away. Let's see. What we got? Going to be back to Nerd Up. That's right. Is that the Rex? Yes, it is. This is, in fact, I'll bring up the box art here. This is the box art here. You can kind of see. I can go back to, this might be an easier view. Let's go back here like this. There we go. So yeah, this is the kit. This is not the black version. I think they came out with a newer version that was black or darker color scheme. This is the original as far as I remember. And I've had it for a long time. I mean, a long time. I don't remember how long it's been in my backlog. I think I bought it before I moved up here when I was still in California. So that was at least maybe 10 years ago, if not more. What's up, Voidbringer? Voidbringer's in the house, and so is Manny. Manny's here. How's it going, guys? Good to see you, as always. Earlier, I was just talking about this cockpit here. Again, if anybody has built this kit, and has anybody put lighting in it, give me your insight on it, how you did it. I'm thinking I've got to run, 4 strands of fiber somewhere in here, and then I might have to try to encase a power supply in here. What I could do, well, I guess that ladder, like I said, that ladder section that goes on the back, what I'm talking about is this guy right here. Let me zoom back into the closer view here. Look at that art book. Oh, art book for the game. Yeah, I don't have the art book for the game. I haven't played a Metal Gear game in years. So this little ladder section attaches to the back of this, and there's 2 holes on each side of this. So when this comes together, then you've got all 4 holes. So what I could do is if I allow this piece to come off, well, shoot, that might not even work, because there's an attachment joint here that's going to go through to another part that attaches to the body. So I'm going to have to rethink this. But what I was thinking was I could make this ladder, make that a removable piece, maybe cut these pins so this will come off a lot easier, and then just pop this lid off, which I might be able to still do, and just maybe put a small 3-volt battery, and I could probably even hide a reed switch somewhere in there and use a magnet to turn it on and off. No problem. Be right back. Absolutely. So again, that's something I'm going to have to sit down and think about. A lot of times when modifying a kit like this, the majority of the time is spent just trying to solve the challenges, or you kind of have to what's the word I'm looking for? Re-engineer the way it goes together, because if you followed it step by step, you wouldn't be able to put all the electronics in. If you glued everything together and seal it up, you wouldn't be able to do it. So I've got to kind of plan it, and sometimes things are put together out of order in order to achieve that. So for the meantime, I'm going to just keep assembling some parts here. I glued these together earlier today. I don't think they've been together enough to start sanding them down. There's a few seams there that I have to deal with. So I probably won't get to that today, but in the meantime, I think I could still cut some stuff off the runners here. Oh, that's not, this is the one. That's this guy. I was almost going for the wrong part. I was going for what I thought I wanted, not what I actually needed. And hopefully we won't have a repeat this week of what we had last week, when I actually took a fall while doing the live stream. I was pulling all the runners out of the bags and stuff and hanging them on the pegboard in front of me. And having installed new wood floors in my room here, and I also put some of these, they're almost like rollerblade style wheels on my office chair. So they roll really easily. And I stood up to hang like the last runner on the wall, and everybody that's in the room will remember this. Anyway, I guess the back of my legs kind of pushed the chair away, and I didn't know it. And the chair rolled away from me, and so I went to sit back down, and it was not there. The chair was gone. And instead of landing on the chair, I went straight to the ground, and then the chair was still behind me, and it crashed into my spray booth. And just made a loud bang. It was pretty funny, actually. I can laugh about it now. At the time, I was more embarrassed than anything. But such is life, right? All right, so these two pieces go on the side here. Okay, so they're going to go in. A lot of these things fit super tight. Like I said earlier, I just glued these about an hour ago, so they've definitely not been together enough to start sanding them. But for the sake of assembly, I think I can get those apart. Okay, they do come apart fairly easily. So, I mean, I will say that it seems like there's you can even hear it. It's like the parts of this kit fit really tightly together in some cases, and they fit really well. That's one thing I will say is, I don't know if I've ever built a Kotobukiya kit before. I have a few in my stash, but I've not actually assembled one, and they're pretty darn good as far as, well, at least this one is. Ron, how's it going, Ron? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. How's it going? Let's say, do I need to get a life alert bracelet? No, Ron. I'm not old enough yet for a fucking life alert bracelet. Because I did fall, but I still got up, right? Too funny. Were you here for that? I don't know if were you here last week, Ron? I don't know if you were here for that. Yeah, it was a moment I really wish I could forget, right? Okay. It's a lot of tiny pieces too with this whole thing. Next step, I got to put a couple of polycaps in here. He wasn't. Glad you're okay. Yeah, thanks. I'm fine. Like I said, bruised my ego more than anything, and my tailbone. Yeah, that wasn't my greatest moments. And fortunately, the camera was down at this view right here, so it was mostly just audio. The camera shook a little bit because it did shake the room, because I went straight to the ground, man. It was like kablam. And yeah, so fortunately for me, none of it was on camera. I'm sure it would have made for better viewing if it was, but in this case it was not. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm going to set this down for a sec. I missed a lot of these steps. Oh no, I'm not. I'm doing okay. This is all part of 24, so I'm in the right direction here. So E11. I think I am going to go with the paint scheme that's kind of on the box art, where it has that kind of technical camouflage, or it's not digital, but or what I would think would be called digital camouflage, but it has that kind of that broken pattern. I like that, so I think I'm going to try to replicate that. And then, of course, it's going to get weathered and all that stuff. So you guys just joining in. Did you get to see the pub table over here? Let's see. I'll bring it back up here. So go down about here and then slide over. There it is. I'm just waiting for the glass top. That'll be here on Friday. And then I'll have a place for friends to come hang out. So one more step to getting this house the way I want it, the way we want it. You know, we're working on. We've been steadily making improvements, and now the next thing to do is our back patio. I think we're going to try to put a gazebo up in there. I was told as long as I don't attach anything to the building, I can do what I want in my own backyard. So I think I'm going to try to put up a nice metal structure, something that can cover up the fire table that I have outside. I've got a nice dual burner fire table, independently controlled, by the way. It's like you can turn the fire on up top, like most fire tables, where it's just coming up to the top. It also has a separate burner that warms up your legs underneath the table. And you can turn that one on or turn it off independently, which is kind of a nice feature. So how's everybody doing on a hump day? I'm working the Saturday schedule now for the next few weeks. So I'm off on Mondays, and I have to work on Saturdays, which I don't like working Saturdays, but whatever, it is what it is. Fortunately, it's only every so often. I have to do 4 weeks in a row, and then we're off for 8 weeks, so that's good. I also got a new microphone boom stand, so no more having the mic on the bench. You know, I had it on a little tripod, kind of just standing right next to me, and it worked for a while, but I kept knocking the damn thing off. So I bought a boom for it that attaches to the table, and now it's out of the way and works nice. Okay. So polycaps, doesn't appear to be any direction to these, but they do tell you they want to put in a certain position, kind of like that. Yeah, start there. All right. So this goes in. Well, those are those gold pieces coming up. Oh, I got it. So this has got to go through. Wow. It's going to go through and then straight down. Just through the bottom, just like that. So those polycaps fit in a little slot, and then I guess I'll leave that there for now. Yeah, that's all the way forward. So this is going to swivel for something, but I'm sure we'll figure out what that is later. All right, now I'm going to cut those little pieces off, these little gold ones. It's actually a nice finish. I hate to sand this stuff. Because I will have to repaint it, but I'm just going to cut these as close as I can. One piece isn't going to, one part of it's not going to matter because it's on a peg, but the other edge is visible. That nub will be seen, but I want to see how these go in. Looks like they may hide the nub mark. So for those that would just snap this kit together without paint, you might be able to do it here. There we go. Yeah, it looks like that'll be in the back. So at least they took some thought when they designed the runners, it would seem. So there we go. All right, there's two little gold pieces. The finish, like I said, the finish is really nice on those. I kind of like that color. Sure, I can replicate it with some gold, but for the time being, before I have to take this apart and disassemble it, that's where it's going to stay. So, okay, back to gluing parts here. We've only got a couple of pieces left on the B runner, so that'll be gone. I actually finished one runner earlier in the week. 4 and 6. Okay, these two. So as the runners get used up, that's when I take them off the wall and I'll sometimes reorganize stuff and make them easier for me to grab. So what you building, Ron? Anybody building anything nice? I know, unless you're doing minis still. So just the other day too, I was able to take back one of the boxes that of flooring that I didn't use. Didn't open it, so they were let me take it back, return it. That's nice. Hazel bust 135. Ooh, I'd like to see that. Send me some pictures of that. I'm yet to do a 135 bust. I got to get one of those. It seems like you could do quite a bit because just by the sheer size, you'd be able to, as far as like adding electronics and stuff, it seems like it'd be so much easier. Especially because like when I built the 120 Gerwalk, that was in the Max Factory Macros Gerwalk, that 120 scale. There was so much room inside everything because of just the sheer size of it. It made it really nice to, when it came time to do that kind of stuff. Let's see, how does this go in there? What the hell? I'm doing that wrong, am I? No. It is together. It's a pretty precise fit here. Wow. All right, I'm going to have to sand that a little bit or something. Does not want to fit. So much room for activities, yeah. Alright, I'm going to just sand the side of it because this piece, because it's two halves, but it's going to fit into a slot here. It's I mean, really precise. It's actually too small. If I'm looking at the opening, it actually looks, it's too small for these two pieces to fit. So yeah, the only way it's going to work is if I take a little bit off the sides here. It's almost like it's too wide. It's a square peg, but it's keyed on both sides, so it will only fit one direction, but it's just not getting in there. Huh. Didn't think it would be this hard to get a piece in here like this. Damn. Really will not fit. Some of these parts fit together really tightly, but this is probably the first time I've, and especially on this kit, that I've come across anything that seemed like it wasn't quite right. Might just be the mold of this larger piece, because these are pretty precise, but it just seems like you've got a negative mold in there. The two halves that come together to form this piece have to fit within that. It just seems like it's just, oh man, why won't it go in there? Yeah. Not doing it wrong. Not doing it wrong. All right. Let's try to shave off a little bit here. It's almost like they could have gone with just a square. They wanted a square peg. They didn't have to key it on both sides. It's like the square peg would fit just fine without the notches cut out of it. I guess that adds to the strength, but it seems a little redundant, especially trying to fit this in there. These two. Oh, there we go. Wow. So that was kind of crazy. That just trying to get that one piece to fit down in there. I am going to leave that unglued for now. So I don't know if I'm going to have to take that out for whatever reason. Okay. That was kind of ridiculous. It took forever. All right, no problem. Let's get some parts. 9 and 10. Some of the parts, I was talking about this last week. Some of the seams, it looks like they added panel lines, in those areas on some of the parts come together. So what seems like there might have to be a seam line fix is actually, or a dress seam, I should say, you actually don't have to, because they've put a recessed line, kind of like using one of those edge scrubbers. And so when the two pieces come together, there's actually an intentional seam line there, or panel line. G1, what's going on? Good to see you again, as always. We're just working on the Rex here. Earlier, I was talking about, or discussing, trying to think through the process of maybe putting some lighting in it in the cockpit. There's just four little lights. You can actually see them here. This is the L runner. There's some really tiny little 4 little lights here. They're not very big. I would say maybe 2 millimeter. The largest part of that is almost like a bulb, and they fit right into these 2 holes and these 2 holes on this, aimed forward next to the cockpit. So I'm trying to figure out where I could run some fiber optics to and house battery and everything like that. So, but that's something I'm going to have to probably sit down and really spend a lot of time figuring out. Okay, so this, wait a minute. This fits over that? Oh, I see now. Well, that's weird. Oh, no. Okay, I got it. I got you. So this, wow. Okay, so this is going to have to, this is one of those things where these 2 pieces have to fit just right, because there we go. Okay, so that goes on there, and then this one has to fit on the other side of it. So it sandwiches those 2 pieces in between. So I'm definitely not going to glue these, because I'm probably going to have to separate them. And by the sound of it, it ain't going to be easy. So this just moves a little bit, but it also fits, that other piece I just put on fits inside of that. I am going to have to glue this eventually, because there's a pretty nasty seam up the middle of this that I'm not sure how I'd be able to get around not fixing that. Plus, it almost looks like they don't quite come 100% together. Actually, I guess if I really squeeze on, a lot of these parts are so tightly, they fit so tightly together that you have to really pinch them to hear them fully snap together. But it looks like there's going to have to be a clamp on that or something to get that seam to fully close. So that's not cool. Anyway, now I see how that's installed, and that's that. Moving on. Let's get over here. Actually, what I'm going to do real quick, clear off all my nubs. Collect them on the booklet, and then I just dump them into the box next to me here. In the meantime. All right. So, looks like another polycap coming up. Let's see what number we got here. D. Oh, this big fat one. We're doing one side at a time on this, I guess. Oh, maybe, yep. Gonna need both. So this face is out. Okay. Just like that. I might as well get the other one. Because I know I'm going to need it for the other side. Now, one of the things I might as well talk about now, polycaps and how to paint them. Let me see if I can find. I think I brought it out and put it on the shelf when I did the redo here. You know what? I left it. I know where it is. 1 second here. Let me dig this up. So, pretty dusty. But, polycaps don't like to be painted, right? Everybody knows it. Anybody that's in the gunpla community will know and will tell you that you can't paint a polycap, right? Because it'll come off. The paint will just flake off. That is true. However, through my research a few years ago, and there's probably even more products now on the market, I came across this stuff. Bulldog Adhesion Promoter. Now I decanted this, and I think I might have even thinned it with Mr. Leveling Thinner, and it worked okay. But I did run this through my airbrush. But this is primarily used in the automotive industry, like body shops and stuff, for painting when they want paint to stick to plastic or rubber trim pieces, like on an outside of a car or something. This helps the paint stick to rubber, and it works brilliantly with polycaps. So if you ever wanted to paint your polycaps, you can do it. And years ago, I actually did a test. I documented it and put some pictures up. You might even be able to find it on my Gundamonium page. I'm not sure if it might have been back when I was a member of those Gundam guys. That might be on their page, but you'd have to do a deep dive to find that. But I did a test, and I actually painted a polycap without it, and I painted a polycap after. It was similar to this kind of size or this style, just a generic cap of some kind. And you could literally take that piece in your hands and squish it around, and the paint would not come off. You did the same thing with the untreated one, and it just, of course, the paint just kind of explodes right off of it. But by using that adhesion promoter, it actually helps the paint, and it remains flexible enough that if something bends, because I was actually smashing that polycap in my fingers, and it wouldn't flake off. The paint wouldn't come off. That being said, you need to, especially if you're going to use the Bulldog stuff, you need to definitely have a ventilated area. If you don't have a spray booth that has ventilation, then do it outside, because that stuff stinks. It is not nice to smell. That's the only drawback. But I will say it worked. It worked exactly as designed, and it worked great. I was very happy with it. And I even used it a couple times. It looks like there's a few polycaps on this that might actually be exposed enough to where I'm going to have to paint some, so I'm going to have to use it again. But I think you can even buy it in quart jugs now too. I bought the aerosol can and just decanted it, so I could put it in a glass jar and do it that way. But I'm sure you can find it in a liquid form, non-aerosol, in a pint or even a quart size. I mean, that's a lot of it. I mean, I don't even know how, especially in our applications here, how long do you think you're going to really use it, or how much you're going to use it? This aerosol can will probably last me forever, as long as it doesn't, the nozzle doesn't get clogged up and it can't get it out of the can without cutting it open. But It's kind of like buying a box of parafilm. If you worked in the medical industry, you'd probably go through it pretty regularly. But here we use it for masking and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, one box will last you a lifetime, so it would seem. Oh, there it is. I knew there was one more. Vovit. What am I building? I am building. How do you say? Did I say that right? Is it Voviet or Voviet? I'm not sure how to say it. Okay, hopefully, I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. I really do. I am building the Metal Gear Rex. And so far, right now, I'm really enjoying it. I'm just trying to figure out some electronics, whether or not I'm going to put some LEDs or actually fiber optics in it, probably. Trying to solve that. And then also just assembling and doing some basic snapping here because I'm not familiar with it. I want to make sure that or see if I can find a place to put the battery and stuff like that. All these things, So what goes in first? What do they have? Oh, they're just showing the way it's installed. Okay. All right. Well, that was easy. So this just goes right on here. I think. Does that go inside? Oh, it does. So it kind of drops in and goes down. Interesting. Anyway, welcome in, Bo. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. All right, I should have just cut that one off when I had a chance because I knew I was going to do the other side here. No, that way. What are you building, by the way? Is anybody, I know Ron said he's doing a 135 bust, Gundam bust. Anybody else got any projects they want to talk about? On the last Sunday, I put a ceiling fan up in here too, so now I've got that done. Almost done with all the upgrades for my my room here. I'm really happy with the results so far. Okay, so now we're gonna get to some really tiny parts here. So I'm gonna set this aside for a second because now we gotta start building some little hatches. A bunch of little, looks like either missile hatches or something. So I'll grab the A runner again. I think we're just doing one at a time, but I'll do them both at the same time. Save some time that way. Also using an MG Guyan as a scribing dummy. Oh, nice. Yeah, sometimes it's nice to have you got an old kit or something like that. That's what I did when I was practicing that anime painting. Is I just took that old, I think it was the original Hainu. Yeah, the original Hainu kit, and just threw some paint at it, to try to practice doing that anime paint scheme. And it did help significantly in those, when it came time to do those two macros kits. I really wish there was a lot, more competitions available to us here in Washington. It's really only just the one, unless you go to what's the anime one? There's another show in Seattle, but it's more like Anime Expo. It's not just a competition like IPMS is. Pretty much straight up competition. Although I could go up to Canada, I guess, when Anime Revolution comes around again, but I did go to that once, and that was kind of fun, but one that doesn't matter. I don't like the guy in out of the box. It's silly. Yeah, that's the best kind, though. Some people even have they have their own paint mule where it's just basically an old kit like that or something they don't like, and they just use it for doing paint and weathering experimentation, because who wants to spend 60, 80, $100 or whatever on a kit and then jack it up by not or doing some weathering or doing a technique on it and then making a mistake. It's nice to have some practice under your belt. So yeah, why not use something else that doesn't matter to you that much? All right, so I got a bunch of these I got to cut out. 4 each. A total of 8. I guess these are just like little hatches. There's a hatch, but then there's another little, I don't know if it's another missile hatch or something behind it. But anyway, got a couple of the smaller runners down in front of me on the table, but most of the stuff's hanging on the wall. The bigger ones anyway. All right. Flight Museum is a fun show. Oh, that's a show though, right? No competition, just strictly model show expo, I think. Yeah, I keep missing that. I've seen it in the last couple of years. And I was either working on that Saturday or something. I can't remember. I think I would like to attend that at least one time up here. And that's straight up model show, so you can pretty much bring your entire collection if you wanted to. Assuming you have the space, or I don't know if you have to rent the space or pay for the space at the show. Am I missing one here? Oh, it didn't come off the runner. I thought it was missing one. I missed a cut. There we go. Just got tons of demos and classes and a bunch of dudes bullshitting. Well, that's good. Kind of like what we're doing right now. Bunch of dudes sitting around bullshitting. I need to organize some kind of a build gathering as well. Used to do those. I had more space in one of the places I lived up here. I don't really have the space here, but I would like to maybe host another one again. Maybe a smaller group. Heck, I got a new pub table in here now, so yeah, might as well, right? Make friends with their dudes. Well, I'm actually friends with some of them. I've seen them at IPMS. Show Me What You Bought. That's another guy. I think he was there. trying to think. There's a few of them that I should know. They do their own live stream too together on Instagram as well. I'm sorry, I can't remember his actual name right at the moment. I'll fly in. You'll fly in. So Mike, you want to do a build gathering here? I'd love to have you. That'd be awesome. Yeah, do it in the summertime where we can fire up the barbecue too. The neighbor behind us, they just cut down all their bamboo. Their bamboo was encroaching on some of the property lines here. So they agreed to cut it all down. So that's in process. That's supposed to actually made it a lot more light come through our patio now because there's not this big giant blind of bamboo. Wine and plastic and a Pacific Northwest. I'm down. Nice. Yeah, well, I do have plenty of wine. There's no shortage of that here. Although tonight I'm not having any. I usually do. Maybe that's why I'm stumbling all over my words right now. It's because I don't have any wine in me. Sorry, some of these pieces are tiny, and I'm trying to work over the bench, but I'm going to keep them close to my chest here so I don't drop them. I thought it was funny because, people talk about, when they carpet in a room, they call it the carpet monster. Whenever you drop a small piece, it just gets eaten by the monster, right? Well, now that I have wood floors in here, it's no longer the carpet monster. It's the pinging of pieces off the floor until they disappear into the ether, basically. Which I thought was pretty funny. So far, so good, though. Once I get that glass mat, it really won't be much different than the wood floor, except the floors are gray, so if I did drop a gray part, it might be harder to find, but all right, I'm almost done with all these little parts. There's like this. I haven't even cut the hatches out yet. This is just all of the pieces that go under the hatches. And I got to snap in each one of those. So, all right, time to pop these in here. I'm going to need to have a little help with a pocket screwdriver just because these are small. In order for me to get them in to pop in there, I got to press down. You'll learn to listen. Yeah. Well, I will say this, Nick. I work in the automotive industry. And a lot of times, you drop a socket, you drop a tool, or even a part, a small bolt or something. You learn to listen very carefully and figure out where it went, especially if it flies off in a weird direction. You immediately stop what you're doing and just start looking for it and trying to, before it stops moving. So yeah, well aware of that technique. Mike says, I still need to do the floors in my studio. Been putting it off for about 5 years. Yeah, I bought my flooring over a year ago. It was not my intention to wait as long as I did, but as many of you know, last year was a shit show with my mother passing away and the whole family lawsuit going on. It was a nightmare. So the projects got put off. Now we're starting to get back around where we can start doing this stuff again. So that's what we're doing. All right, I got to cut off a bunch of doors now. So I need the D runner. Where is the D runner? D runner. Here we go. And there's 2 of these. So, yep. And there's 4. So D1 on all these. Yep. So I got 8 more of these to cut out and clean. Whoa, there goes one. And that landed on the desk. Yeah, see what you did? You damn it, you jinxed me. All I found it. It's under the laptop. All right. Guys are talking about parts flying, and I cut one off the first one of these doors, and phew, went flying. I just got to keep my fingers on it next time. Keep it from flying away. Just drop it straight down. What's up, Julius? Agreed. You have to listen, especially when your vision starts to go. Well, yeah, I'm right there on vision. Believe me, I don't build anything without wearing magnifiers anymore. My vision is stupid because, like, I'm good at a medium distance. If I get too far away, it goes blurry. If I get too close, it goes blurry. So, and if it's really far away, forget it. Like my wife's exactly the opposite. She can see far distances better than she can see up close. But, I'm wearing, let's see, what are these? These are 2x, okay? These are just basic readers, and then the 2x magnification. Then I've got the eye adjusters from Micromark. These are kind of trick because if you turn these knobs, you see that lens inside moving out. So you can basically adjust these from, I think it's 0.5 to 4x magnification. And so those help for the real close-up shit that I got to look at. But for the basic stuff, I can just get away with these little 2x for now. We'll see what happens later. I'm actually due to go back in and get my eyes checked again because it's been a long time since I've had my prescription updated. So chances are I probably need to get a new set anyway. So I tried to do bifocals because, the issue I was talking about, being able to see good up close, but not necessarily, or not far away. And so I couldn't find that happy medium. And I tried bifocals, and I really have a hard time adjusting to those. I just can't seem to figure out which lens to look through. And I do have a set of progressive ones that I use at work. Those are my prescription safety glasses. But then, progressive ones kind of look like, gives you a fishbowl kind of effect. So that's another thing you got to get used to. And I just have the hardest time with it. Kind of start almost getting a headache when you're trying to adjust your whatever your glasses are. You got readers, everyday room, and yeah. I just bought a set of those on Amazon. It was actually because, you go to the store, and most, even grocery stores have, a little rack with some glasses on it or something, cheap little readers and stuff. But still, they can be like $16 or something like that. It's like, so I just found a set. I got like 5 pairs of these things for really cheap. And they're just computer readers, I think. But they work just fine. They serve the purpose well. All right, let's see on these doors. Now these are the little hatches that go over, which I can assume is like a missile pod or a missile bay or something. Kind of reminiscent of like a door that would, or a hatch that would open on a submarine that's about to launch a missile. They have those airtight doors or whatever on the outside exterior of a submarine or something like that. I don't know, that's what it kind of reminds me of. I think there's even some of those on the Deep Striker. They have those the Gundam kit, the Deep Striker kit. They have these little hatches that open up to expose little missiles or something underneath. Yeah, I got one set of magnifiers at work. A lot of times if I'm doing wiring or something and I got to get in close, and that's another thing I've had to adjust to at work because I can't I crawl under a dashboard and trying to look at a fuse box. Well, by the time you get close enough to it, you're so close to it that it's just a big blur to me. So I have to use magnifiers in order to bring that image down so I can actually see. And it's tough as you get older. And the funny thing was, when I was younger, my brothers, they've had glasses most of their lives. I had great vision for years, and then probably, gosh, it's been a long time now, but when did I get them? I'm trying to think. We're still living in Highland, California. So 5 years, we've been up here for 8, so that's 13. So maybe about 14, 15 years ago, that's when I finally had to buckle down and just like, all right, fine, I need glasses. Because I noticed I was having trouble reading street signs at night. That was the big thing. It's like, I can't see these street signs until I'm right on top of them, or on the freeway, stuff like that. It would be like all just a blur until I got really close, and then almost to the point where you're almost passing it, hoping you can read it in time, but in order to see if that's your exit or not. But now I just wear them all the time when I'm in the car. So yeah, I think it's time to get updated. I gotta go have them checked again and probably get a new prescription. So, yay! Whoa, what the hell happened? Why did my camera just take off on me? That was weird. It probably heard a keyword and started following me. Just looked up for a second. How long was that going on for? This does have voice commands. If you say the right thing, it'll do it. All right, so these are supposed to go in. You're supposed to kind of put them in at an angle and pop them in. There we go. Just like that. I'm going to do that 4 times. Okay, this is not going to be easy. These pieces are so tiny. The camera has a safe word. Hey, what's up? Oh, he's saying, hey, he's saying Mike to Force Ghost. That's what he said. I was saying, Nick, we already said hi to each other. I forget there's more than one Mike in here now. All right, so that's that one. I got one more to do. I hear those snapping in pretty tightly there. Yeah, I can put it to sleep too. But you have to say the right command. Okay, so there we go. There's 4 of those, and then you just by pressing on the back here, they'll open to reveal. Oops, that one just popped out. A little too aggressive. Reveal this all or whatever's inside. All right. So we got the other big piece here. So here's the other half of this large body panel. And looking at these larger pieces, though, I mean, most of the molds have been pretty crisp so far, but I will say that these larger pieces are a little bit, I don't know, they just don't look as nice as some of the smaller stuff. Oh, that's not going to fit. I'm going to need a smaller. There we go. Yep, it didn't say the safe word, huh? It's the first time I've seen that happen too during a live stream, so it's kind of interesting. Okay. All right, so these go on. Let's just pop straight down. Just like that. Man, they fit tight. You just hear them crunching together. All right, where's the J runner at? J is right here. J11, which is pretty much looks like a big exhaust grate or something. Something similar. Goes right down the middle. The nice part about this is actually this one doesn't have any. I could drill some holes like this section here, this piece that goes in the middle has kind of like it's keyed, with this little T and then a notch. But there's no hole through the bottom like these. You can actually access tabs. So I need to separate this when I take it apart to paint it. I can just push those out, but this one won't have that. So what I might do is take a small hole and drill it through the bottom. So that way, when I do have to separate these parts, I can just push it from the backside and pop it right out. I got a dip. Catch y'all later. Okay, Mike. Good to see you, bud. Thanks for stopping in. Have a great night. What's up, Drew? Wait until you start posing it. Those creaks will haunt you. Yeah, I imagine. Everything's so tightly. It seems like it fits so tightly together. I don't doubt that for 1 minute. 1 minute. All right. First, I want to take a drill bit here. I'm just going to go through. Through both of these, so that way when I have to separate this, I can just push and use a drill bit or something and just push from the bottom side and pop that piece right out. All right. This will go right down that place. Bam. Yeah, see, now I've got these holes that I just drilled at the bottom, so I can just pop that right out. Okay. So next up is the rest of this gold runner here. They're directional, but at least they put the gates in a place that won't be seen, so it's no big deal. Oops. Just like that, and then just like that. And that gold really looks good on camera too. It's got a nice sheen to it. All right, well, God, there's a nice, rather large cavity in this, this central body piece here. I wonder if maybe this might be the route to go as far as maybe I can make this. Well, I could try running. I could put the bulb, the fiber optics in the bulb in this section, and then run the wires and maybe have this section for the battery and the switch. Depending on how far away they are, because I know they're not directly attached, but I should be able to hide the wiring. So I'm not fully pressing this together because I want to make sure I can still get it apart, but I'm just kind of getting a feel for. And I really don't like polycaps in this way, because polycaps never sit exactly straight, and then you're trying to put two halves together. You got, looks like 8 large pins that have to line up, and then 2 polycaps. And so those are the things that get deformed when you're trying to press down 2 big, clamshell halves, like basically like this. So I'm just barely pushing this together. I'm not fully going to seat this yet. So I like the idea of maybe using this as this section without the lid, being able to remove the lid for like a battery and switch access or something. It might be a good possibility there. Gaia Diagogi. Oh gosh, I just butchered that, didn't I? Kotobukiya is very good at gate placement. Makes Bandai look like amateurs. Really? As many kits, and downright makes GW. What's GW? Am I missing something there? Oops. Where did I go? I meant to put that on screen because that's a good comment. Look awful. Yeah, this is my first experience, I think, with an actual full Koto kit. I'm trying to remember if I've ever done another Kotobukiya kit. I hadn't. I have a couple of Armored Core models in my backlog that I have not. I pick up every now and then, but then put them down. But I still think this might be a good idea to use this portion of it as my my power supply, simply because there's just a lot of room in here. I can put a nice CR 2032 will fit right in there. Even a battery holder would probably fit in there if done right. And then it's just a matter of running 2 wires, maybe put a reed switch up here that I can just pop a magnet on. But if I can, maybe I'll trim these other pins down so this will come off a lot easier without too much effort. I can just pop this off, turn it on, put it back together. So right now I can tell it's going to be really tight, just like everything else, if I go and fully press this down. So for the time being, I'm just going to let this sit like that. Let me clear out my nibs again. Shake off the instructions. Another page down. All right, so okay. So next up is the lower body section. So we built the cockpit essentially and this back portion here. So if I do put an LED, Games Workshop. Oh, Games Workshop. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Now that I know what you mean. Yeah, Games Workshop is horrible. I mean, I built a couple of commission kits for Warhammer stuff, and yeah, I think their molding is really bad, and their gates are massive. So I'm totally on board, with that. Absolutely. So what I was saying was, if you look at I know it's upside down for you guys, but the cockpit section here, and then this is the back portion here that we just finished. So there's going to be the main body. I could run wiring through here. We'll have to see how the main body goes. But if I'm using this as a power supply area, then I'll just have to run wiring through the neck essentially somehow and hide it in here too. I know there's some space in between this. I might be able to. This is also on a ball joint, so I know this moves around. But I'm sure I can hide it. I'm a guy that likes to hide wiring. I don't like exposed wires. And it's something that bugs me when we go to an event or something, like a competition. You got this beautifully painted built kit, and then you got two or three wires sticking out of the ass of it into a battery pack on the table. That just bugs me. Maybe that's just me, but it bugs me. I like hiding all that stuff so you can't see it. It's all about the illusion, right? For me, anyway. You might disagree with that. You might agree. I don't know. But for me, I like to, if I can hide it, and sometimes I hide it in plain sight. Like years ago when I was building my first 148 Valkyrie diorama, a friend of mine told me that to do a 148 Valkyrie and build scratch build a launch arm for it was impossible because the kit was too heavy. So I said, watch me. And I did it. And I was looking at the actual videos of the movie when the Valkyries detached from the launch arm. And there were like some cables, not just the pins that held them in, but there was also like an electrical cable that would detach as well. And then I got the idea, well, that's how I'm going to hide the wires, because those wires will be there. You'll see them, and it'll be part of the diorama, it'll be part of the picture, part of the image, but they're actually functional. I did the same thing on my second 148 Valkyrie, the hangar diorama that I just did. I have the wires coming out of the side, which will be a refueling port or a charging port on the side of the aircraft, and I actually use the wires that power the Valkyrie through the actual wires, and then it goes out through the floor of the kit. So yeah, something to think about. I like hiding that stuff. It might be a little more challenging to do that kind of thing, because it takes a little more time to sometimes re-engineer the way the kit is put together to make sure you can effectively run wiring through joints and around, sometimes difficult areas. But in the end, what y'all up to today? We're just building, Angel. You just joining in? Catching me right at the end here. Getting close to the end anyway. So I was talking earlier about, anyway, well, I'll get back to that, but what was I saying? I'm gonna, sometimes re-engineer the way the kit goes together so you can hide wiring and stuff like that. That's just what I like doing. It bugs me to see a lot of effort put into a really complicated build, and then the last thing you can do is hide an anachronism like wiring that shouldn't be there. Here's an example. There was one kit, a diorama that we saw at IPMS. I think it was 144 scale Psycho Zaku. I think it was a Psycho Zaku, but I think it was 144 scale because it couldn't have been master grade because that would have been too big. And all around it, this is one of the guys from Sleeves in Oregon that brought it up, and all around the kit there was all these little workers, and there's little little bright like LEDs that flashed almost. They look like they were doing welding on the side of this, doing repairs on this giant Zaku, and you didn't see any wires of that at all. I mean, that was done so beautifully, to hide the wiring on it and everything, and make to create that scene without having a bunch of unnecessary, wires just hanging out on the outside. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Is I want to be able to put lighting in this, but I want to be able to hide it. I don't want people to see the wires if I can help it. I also have a massive, intricate display base it stands on to hide stuff as well. That is true. Well, the base isn't that terribly big, but I guess there is some space underneath it to put a battery. That is true. That again, then I would have to run wiring down through a leg or something, which isn't that hard to do. But I see your point. Yeah, there is that way. I can do it that way. So good ideas. Thanks, Guy. I appreciate that. So yeah, we'll figure that out at a later date. Once I start, it looks like we're on the last majority of the. Yeah, it's just really just that bottom body section, and I think then we start the final assembly. So then I can kind of get a better idea as to how. Yeah, and then the rest is just weapons. So yeah, you're talking about this big chunk of floor here, and I made this to actually join other panels. I will probably end up cutting some of that out if I use this base, which I probably will. But I'll probably end up cutting off these unused tabs around the base, the outside of it. So, and then finishing that with some styrene strips to hide those gaps and just make it look like a clean base. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I could run it down through a leg and maybe go under the base. That might be easier. Would also alleviate me from having to pop the lid off of this thing to, you know what I mean? Might be worth checking into and going down one of the feet, coming out through the bottom somewhere. I could easily. I mean, that's what I did with the Valkyries. I had to run wires through the central body and out through, the boosters and everything. I had to really plan on where the wiring went and assemble everything in a way that was that it also worked. It takes time. That's what takes more time than the actual build. It's the planning. Anytime you're doing any modifications, it's that planning that takes extra time. All right, guys. We're running about 7:30 here Pacific time, so I'm going to finish off this. We'll bring it back up here and take a look at my ugly ass mug. All right, guys. Thanks again for coming in tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you, as always. Like I said, or like I always say, I try to remember this anyway. Smash that like button, you guys. Tell your friends and support this channel. And I'm going to try to start changing things up a little bit too. I want to maybe bring in some guests, have some people. That's an idea I've been toying around with, having a couple of builders on at any given time rather than just myself, especially when it's like a night like this where it's kind of mundane. We're just snapping something together, and it's not. I want to keep things interesting and maybe change it up a little bit, but that way someone else can share the spotlight too. So with that, be good humans, everybody, and we'll see you next week. We'll see how much more I get together here. I'm going to keep working on it a little bit at a time. Again, it's just a hobby, right? And we do it in our spare times. It's what we enjoy. But thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting me like you always do every week. Speaking of humans, we'll talk to you soon. And let's get into the outro here. All right, guys. Take care.